this section we'll learn how to manage metadata for a post. So let's start by defining what is a metadata. So if you open any post here, and let's edit this one. So by default, a post will have some information associated with it, like the title and the content and categories. And we also have, if you press on screen options here, we can have the excerpt, and we can also have custom fields. So metadata refers to any data associated with a post, and WordPress allows us to add extra metadata to the post other than the title and the excerpt and the content and all the other stuff, and that is done through custom fields. So if you take a look at this custom fields box here, you can add a new custom field, or you can choose from some existing custom fields. So let's, for example, add a new custom field. Should enter new here, and let's call it maybe price, and the value would be 20, and let's update. So now having this extra meta information available only for this post. So let's view the post now, and let's go and remove this var dump here. This was in helpers. And now we want to display this custom field in our post. So how to do that? Let's go to where we display this post, which was in the template paths and content. And as I told you before, the single blog page will have a special template called single.php, but we haven't created this yet, so let's just do our testing in the content.php for now. And let's var dump, and let's retrieve the custom field, and this is using a function called getPostMeta. So this takes the post ID. So in our case we are in the loop, so we can use get the ID, and it takes the key, and the key is, so let's before doing that, let's make the terminology clear here. So we said we have the metadata, which are information associated with a post, and this metadata consists of two parts, the meta key and the meta value. So the key is the price here in this example, and its value is 20. So the key is how you will reference this value here, and to retrieve this value we will pass this key here. So we have our meta key and meta value, and to manage these keys and values we use custom fields, which are these HTML fields. Right, so we have metadata and meta key and meta value and custom fields. And we have also a third argument, and we'll see that in a moment, so let's remove it now. And let's see what this will output. And as you can see, it's an array of length 1, and the first value in this array is 20, which is the value here. So why is it an array? It's because we can add multiple meta values to one meta key. So we can add the price here again, and let's say 30, and save. And now let's go back and refresh, and we now have the two values. And that's actually why there is a third argument here. The third argument here, it's a boolean, and if you set it to true, it will return the last value in the array, and if it's false, and it's false by default, it will return the whole array. So let's refresh now, or we don't have to refresh, and we have a string instead of an array with the value of 20. So it actually returns the first value in the array. So great, we now will know how to add meta information to our post. But this custom fields box here is kind of impractical, right? So as a theme developer, you will use in your theme some meta keys here, and then to let your users use it, you will have to ask them to put the meta key and the meta value. And this is kind of weird, right? We need to let the users just type the value. So that's what we will do in this section. We will learn how to create a box like this one, and this is called a meta box. So these white boxes are called meta boxes, and we'll learn how to add our own fields in it. And this won't just be a text field like it is here. We'll be able to add an input or a checkbox or a drop down or any other field. And we will also handle these meta keys internally without asking the users to type the meta key here. But before doing that, let's discuss some stuff first. So let's go to localhost and 8888, which is memp port, and then phpMyAdmin. And we've seen this before. This is where you can manage your databases. So let's go to our database, and I just want to show you where the custom feeds are stored. So we have the WP posts. Remember when I told you that all the posts, including posts and pages and attachments, are stored here, and they are distinguished by the post type column here. So we have page, post, attachments, etc. We also have a separate table for metadata. So it's called WP_post meta, and it contains meta keys and meta values and the post ID that this meta information is associated with. So let's display 500 per page just to search for the price that we just created. So it's maybe in the third page. Yes, and as you can see, we have two price, and both of them are related to the same post ID, but they have different meta value. So when we create our custom fields in our own meta boxes, you'll probably need to have only one value for your key, and we'll learn how to do that when we discuss meta boxes. So I just wanted to show you the database here. Let's also point out something. If you have a prior experience with WordPress before, you probably know plugins like Advanced Custom Fields. And this plugin helps you add the meta boxes that we will learn how to add in this section without writing any code. So you may want to use this plugin and integrate it with your theme, and they have in the documentation a guide to how to integrate it with your theme. But in this section I want to focus on how to create these fields on our own without any plugins. And maybe you could do a lecture on how to integrate advanced custom feeds in your theme. Let me know if you would like that. What this plugin will allow you to do is create meta boxes here, like this box, like the extract box for example, and add some fields in it. And you can choose from a wide variety of fields like text field, text area, range, checkboxes, and everything you can imagine. So it's definitely a great plugin, but in this course I just want to focus on letting you know how to do everything by yourself. So anyways, the final thing I want to mention in this lecture is that you might have heard about this, but I'm using, as I'm recording this, I'm using version 4.9.7 of WordPress. And if your version is like me, less than 5 as you're watching this, you will have this page as you see it now. But after version 5, WordPress will completely change how this page looks. And this will of course have some effect on how to do things in this section. So what WordPress allows us to do is it allows us to use this new page before it's officially released. And that's using a plugin. So let's go to plugins and add new. And the plugin is called Gutenberg. Which is this one, and this will allow you to use the new editor, post editor, before it's officially released, so you can develop with it before it's released for the normal users. So let's activate it, and let's go back to the post page and refresh, and as you can see it's a completely different page, and they actually removed the custom fields box that we added the price in, but that's not important. We still can add our own meta boxes. So let's deactivate this plugin for now, and during this section I will turn it on and off to see the differences when we are creating our meta boxes. So let's start creating the meta boxes in the next lecture.